I wanted to ask you a lot of things. So, but the first thing is, just thank you for the amount of time that you have spent with her and what it means for us, for her, but for me to have you. She's such a little ragamuffin there. She's gotten so tall and so big.
My hair's so blonde.
I know. Now it's pink.
Yep, now it's pink.
But like you said earlier, 8 years almost.
Yep.
8 years that you have been with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it has meant everything to me as her mother, and her for her comfort in being at school.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, if she was my child, I want the same thing. I mean,
a lot of people, for a lot of parents, I think, school can be the scariest part of those years, those childhood years, because you're sending this child into a big school, maybe even a little school, but it's scary because food is everywhere, right?
Yep.
And you know how crafty our kids can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just having someone that I know will always put her first, who's always focused on her, has just allowed me to be able to send her to school and to know that she's going to be okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad to do it. I mean, she's, like I said, over and over, she's like my own child.
I know you are her second mom. There's no doubt about that. And that, but it has far-reaching effects.
Yeah.
Right. So first, there's the fact that she's able to be safe at school.
Right.
But also that she has somebody there. It lessens her anxiety because and it helps her to learn, I think, more efficiently. Plus, you obviously help her with learning on a hands-on basis.
Right.
And because she's happy and she's secure and she's safe, I can do other things. I don't spend all of my time on high alert.
And I can imagine how it could be for some other parents, just, oh my gosh, just taking them to school or wherever, the daycare, whatever, and just, putting them out and just like, okay, I hope you have a good day.
Yeah.
I hope it goes well.
Yeah. Because that's all you can do is hope. But in our case, we've had, our hiccups here and there, and, but they've been so minor,
Oh, yeah, I think so. But you get a lot of phone calls from me.
I think that's more about the diabetes, though.
Yeah,
because that's really a double whammy.
Yes, it is.
Because you're there to keep her safe from PWS and its symptoms and manifestations, but then there's the type 1 diabetes too, which I think, honestly, myself, from the day-to-day management aspect, would you say that that's the hardest part?
So far, yeah. I mean, we've had our issues, like you said, little hiccups and stuff, but they are, that the diabetes all day, every day.
Yep.
So
and that's the thing that was concerning to me when we were putting her into the school system before you so kindly agreed to take over her responsibility of her. Was the diabetes on top of that. I thought, gosh, this is really going to be a lot to handle, a lot to keep her safe, a lot for her to have to deal with. But it has turned out to be not as hard as I imagined.
Well, she has phenomenal parents, because I can't imagine, y'all, you're like a walking encyclopedia. You could be I think you could be a doctor yourself, but just knowing how, y'all take care of her, as far as her food, everything. I mean, you're all commended. I mean, my gosh. And I know you're her parents, and, I can't imagine being any other way either, but,
well, you see what a sweet soul she is.
Yeah.
She's got such a pure and kind heart. What do you think, what is your biggest challenge with Clementine on a daily basis, being her one-on support? What is it?
I think now she's got my number. She can tell me, I don't feel good, or my stomach, or I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat that. And I'm like, okay, so we, have to, step back, and okay, so really and truly whatever. In fact, when school started this year, let's see, one day she was just, little melancholy or whatever. And I said, bothering you? I said, you know, you can talk to me. And she said, yes. And she said, no, but I think it was just to get back to school and 2 days a week. That was hard. And the end of the week, after you've got that first part of the week, and then all of a sudden you're there for 2 days.
Schedule has been hard because there's been a lack of schedule.
I think everybody
So,
this week, everybody's glad that they're getting back. And then
she's very glad.
2 weeks we'll all be back, so all 5 days, and I think it's going to be much better. But she has adjusted really well, and she likes the kids in the class. And today we had A and B back together all day long.
So there's like 20 kids.
19. One was not there, so you know, expecting a new one, and then you know, you can always get a few more.
Well, we do need to keep an eye on her because more kids, you know, more noise, kind of more stress for her, but she has not seemed stressed at all. I mean, that's, you know, when I think about the past couple of years in school and difficulties for her, for her, I think it has been her anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, it got really bad 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so we experienced all of the skin picking and the hair pulling, and, you know, that was really, really hard. And I know how hard it was for me as her mother, but I know it was hard on you because I know we had those conversations, and it was.
And then for, you know, that time, I think that was the same time that, you know, they decided to take her off all the meds and start regrouping, but then right there when school stopped. So that means she just, not only just her personality, but she looked so unhealthy. It was sad.
She did. She got really, really skinny. Her arms and legs were bad. You know, poor Dr. Miller, and her other doctor that handles her diabetes, Dr. Schatz. I thought he was going to come unglued. Really. He was so concerned about her weight. And he kept saying to himself out loud, I can't believe I'm having this conversation about weight with a child that has PWS, because it's such an odd circumstance.
And she's rail thin, but she's, you know, she says your makeup and everything, she's gonna be taller, and even, you know, her sisters like that too, and her brothers. But yeah, that was worrisome, very worrisome.
And, you know, I think that that's just a good example of how having the right people, the right support, that would be you. Because really you are, if it's not here at home, if she's not at home with us, she's with you.
Yeah.
You know, and that is just, and I know it is so hard for so many families, and I'm so thankful and, you know, grateful to have you not only there for her in the beginning, but it's been 8 years.
8 years.
And I told you that you're not allowed to retire. Absolutely not. There is no retirement.
Have to I'll babysit and do all that stuff.
Because, you know, she just, and I think when I think about like future chat about that frequently, I think about, will her personality change as she gets older and goes through puberty, as maybe some of the hyperphagia sets in? If it does, because there are a lot of really great things on the horizon, and it's quite possible that she may never have the same hyperphagia that a lot of other people have experienced, and that is my fondest, you know, wish. But if in fact that does happen, I do wonder, you know, what is her behavior going to become? And then it concerns me for us as a family. Yeah. But it also concerns me for you and how that may go. You know, I know how painful it would be for you, A, because you don't want to see her unhappy or behave differently, but B, also because it might really be difficult to handle.
I have not really thought about that part, but you know, and I know you keep telling me, Terry, it can happen. It can be just like a switch. It can change, and I'm like, it's not going to happen with her. Well, but I know, seriously, I know it can. Excuse me.
Sure.
But you know, she has y'all though. I mean, I tell you, she's a very
mild-mannered person, and I do think, and this has bothered me from the beginning, and I have talked to Dr. Miller about it so many times, and because I hear and see other things, and kids who have a much harder time behaviorally than she does. And so I've said to Dr. Miller in the past, when is this shoe going to drop? When is it going to happen? And she has told me, it might not happen. Not every child has behavior problems. Not every child has every single symptom that falls within this category of PWS. And most don't have all these symptoms. They have a few here and there. Some are bad, some are not so bad. You just kind of take what you can get. And for her, I just, in my mind's eye, to think about her having any sort of really aggressive or hostile behavior, it just blows my mind.
Me too, because she does not like to, she doesn't want to be upset. She doesn't like to do the wrong thing. She doesn't want other people to do the wrong things. But she doesn't either. I mean,
No, I know.
Hopefully that's going to be maybe just embedded and just engraved in her mind that, it'll be mild, hopefully. I mean, that's all we can hope for.
Well, so many things, so many good things have happened recently within the PWS community in regard to advances in, research and potential treatments for hyperphagia, for anxiety, which in my opinion, those two are the big ones. At least for us, those are the big ones. That it's quite possible, that families that are having their children now, these kids are babies or they're very young, they may not ever have to go so far with the syndrome that other people have. And, that's the thing, with you being able to provide care for her at school and support, and for me not to have to worry every single day, it gives me the chance to focus on other things that I want to focus on for myself, personally, but also, for fundraising for PWS and doing all this. I would not be able to do those things if I didn't have you.
Well,
and I'm convinced that if I had somebody else and not you, it wouldn't be the same.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I think so. I've seen some of these other people. So that's all I can say.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I was very happy when you asked. I mean, I was really at the point about to retire when y'all asked if I would, and when, Stephanie came and asked if I would go with her, and I said, yeah, okay.
What is it about Clementine that made you decide that you would go? Because you had never been a one-on-one before. So I know you said that you were ready to retire, and I get that, and I get the reasons.
Of course I was crazy about her. We all were. And just the fact that, I guess you had enough confidence in asking me to go. I mean, if you thought I could do it, I thought, well, I can do this and I want to do this. So, really want to question. I very happy to do it and willing to do it.
Well, that's another story of support that Clementine has received, that I've received, is Tracy Jackson.
Yes.
Tracy Jackson, the preschool special ed teacher in charge, was wise enough to see this relationship that you had built with Clementine. And I know she knew that you were considering retiring.
Yeah.
And she kind of thought, hey, okay, maybe this is a good combination. And thank goodness the county decided to approve Clementine's support. Because that is not always easy.
No.
And I don't know a lot of other children in our county public school system that have one-on-ones.
I don't know of any really for, if anything, it might be for a behavioral type thing. But used to have one medically that would go on the bus with the child and everything, but that was like a severe profound type thing. But not too many, I don't think.
I think that's an example of, and I'm not taking credit for that, that's an example of Tracy Jackson figuring out how to present Clementine's need to the school system in a way that it made sense to ask for that much assistance and
What
to get
she
it.
called it a coup.
It was a coup. Major coup.
Major
Every time I
coup.
see her, I'm like, oh, have you had any coups like that recently? She's like, no, that was the only
That was the
one.
only
That was my
one.
coup de grace. That was the best thing that I ever did. But you know, she was really, that was really, I was surprised at how easily it took place. And that since then, every once in a while, they might want to say things to me here and there. But, you know, the way that she is attached, or the way that you were attached to her through her diabetes,
Right.
which isn't going away, makes it really difficult to separate the service from her. You know what I mean?
Right,
So I
yes.
feel like I'm very confident that she will maintain the ability to have a one-on-one aide until she goes through the system and is no longer in the system. Because the justification is there. Once it's there, you can't really
go back
take
and say,
it
oh,
away.
she's better because she, you know, even I think the most advanced when it comes to the pumps, that kind of stuff, she's not going to, you know, she can look at it, but she's not going to be able to decide what to do with it and why you need to do this, or, you know, any of that kind of stuff. So
no, because I mean, half the time we don't understand what to do. This pump, and that's another thing. I mean, you put up with the pump. The pump is its own entity. I swear this thing's got a brain.
I think so too.
Because it goes, oh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's just go off and make sure everybody in the house has to get up. Or it gets stuck on the screen like it did the other day, and you're like, oh, I can't get out of this thing. What's going on? I mean, this thing is, it's the best thing available, but boy, is it a pain.
I think it's like, it's a computer. It's a little computer.
Well, she's getting a new one in March. It's supposed to be better, so we'll see. Maybe it'll talk to us a little bit less. You know, I don't know, because she gets aggravated too. She's like, "Oh, Mama, my pump's going off again."
I know.
And you know, she tries to ignore it.
Yeah.
She pretends like it's not going off, so that she doesn't have to get up and come tell me about it. And then it kicks her out, and then she'll say, "Well, I don't know why that happened." Or remember when she was little and she used to say all the time, if she would say something and then she would look at you or she would look at me and she would say, "Why did I say that?"
I know.
She cracks me up. She hasn't done that in a long time, but it used to crack me up. Oh my God, it cracked me up. She's funny, you know, she's a funny kid.
She is. She's really got a good sense of humor. And like today, she laughed at me. And I said, well, I don't know why you're laughing, because you didn't even notice. I can't count.
Well, you know what? Something else I've noticed this year, you know, now that she's in this new classroom and I think Clara Zimmerman she's fantastic.
She's awesome.
She's great. I have noticed that she, you know, the grades that she's bringing home.
Yeah, she's very proud.
Very good.
She's very proud.
She made me take pictures of all the papers that came out of her binder last Friday. I had them all lined up on the counter. She said, "Mama, take a picture of each one of those. I want you to send them to Papa, my dad."
Yeah.
And so he, you know, responded and said, "Clementine, you're smart." She said, "Papa, I know I am."
Well, and we tell her all the time, and Claire is, you know, and really all her teachers have done that. I mean, they, you know, they tell her how smart she is, but now Claire is really, you know, she's that sing-songy type thing, and she tells her she's amazing all the time, and not just her, but the other kids too. But yeah, and she is smart. She's got a lot going on in there.
Well, you know, she has changed so much and she has grown so much, and sometimes I forget what she was like when she was little, because
I would love to know when she was really little.
Well, you know, when she was a baby, she was, and that's the silver lining, I guess, to the initial diagnosis of PWS. The silver lining is that they're really good babies, good in the sense that they're very calm, they're very quiet. The flip side of that is that you got to make sure that because they have failure to thrive, generally speaking, initially. That's temporary. So it's difficult to get them to eat enough, and you know, they want to sleep a lot. She never had a feeding tube. She was not great, but she would do it. But you know, it would take hours of, you know, feeding a little bit, and for her to get what she needed. That was hard.
Yeah.
But then that phase kind of goes away, and you know, everything was delayed with her. She was delayed in talking. She was delayed in walking. Her, you know, physical skills were delayed. Everything was delayed. But everything started coming about. It just takes a little longer. It's just a little harder. That's what I tell, Kellen and Jack and Mackenzie. I'm like, she can do anything that they can do. It just might be a bit of a different schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
And a little bit harder.
I wonder, do you think it would have been any different if she'd been your first and not
Terry.
having, and then having her last, and then she's got her siblings that she could, emulate and stuff and just
I think first, if I had had her first, I don't know if I would have had other children, because I think that it can be so consuming in the beginning.
Right.
And, I was an older person to start with when I had my first child. So, by the time she was born, well, first, I probably wouldn't have had any other kids if I'd have had her when I was 42, like I did.
Yeah.
But even so, if I had been a younger person and I would have had her first, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because she has the other three, I think it's done wonders for her, because she can look at them and try to emulate what they're doing.
Right.
But as much benefit as has been for her to have them, it's been for them to have her.
And they're so good with her. I mean, they're just phenomenal with her. They take care of her, but they're just, they just interact, and they're just there for her.
What I find to be interesting sometimes is that, well, first, all three of them have learned to be empathetic and compassionate. And I don't know if that would have been the case had Clementine not been born. So, and I can say the same thing about myself.
Yeah, you're right.
She has been, for all of the difficulties and all of the stress that has come about because of having her having PWS, there have been equally as many things that have come out of it that have been positive. We have met wonderful people.
Right.
Yourself, her doctors, therapists, people that really care about her, teachers, friends, family. People have been kind 99.9% of the time. But also, I think I've changed, because I have discovered that everybody's got troubles.
Right.
Everybody's got troubles, and you don't know what those troubles are if you don't know what's going on in that family. And you may say to yourself, my goodness, my life is hard, but the person next to you may
have it a lot harder.
And you don't know.
I decided to quit my job. I had worked for my dad for 18 years. And Hannah and Will were small, so I put in letters to their school and just a couple other schools for a parapro job. And I told my husband, I said, oh my gosh, watch them call, and it's like special ed or something. And it was almost a year. I walk in one day, and there's a message on the phone, and it was the assistant principal at Spring Hill, and want me to come in for an interview. It was for special ed, severe profound. It would, entail some changing the kids and all that kind of stuff. And boy, I went in there and I sold myself. I'm like, my gosh. But of course, for 18 years.
But were you afraid?
Yeah, for 18 years, I cried every day, because I knew every Monday what I was going to be, I'd get up and I'd go do my job. And it was just totally, I was going to be making a third of what I made, but I was so tired of it. And it was the best thing I ever did. And these are severe found kids, and I love them to death.
And that's the thing is, you never set out to be a special ed parapro. You never set out to be on one-on-one aid. For my daughter, it was serendipitous. Yes. I mean, it was like the meeting of things that was supposed to be.
Yep.
And I have found that in the 10 years this child has been alive, there have been so many times when things intersected.
Yeah.
And when you find things that intersect unintentionally, it seems like they always turn out to be the best.
Yes. I agree. Yeah.
And so this kid is so fortunate to have this community of people that care for her. It just, it really, and it just means a tremendous amount to me. And, every year when we fundraise for Running for Research, we get people, there will be people that I have not talked to in years. And actually there were two, just a couple months ago that went in, that sent donations in. One of them, Teri, I haven't seen this girl since I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh my goodness.
And somehow she ended up following, the stuff I put on Facebook about the training and all that. And she got into it. She lives somewhere across the country. I get this donation and I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah.
So I look to see who it is and I realize it's this girl I
Oh
went
my
to high school
gosh.
with. So we've struck up a Facebook friendship again now, but she touches people. Clementine touches people.
Oh yes.
Her soul touches
Her
people.
fishies.
That's a good story too.
Her
I forgot all
fishies.
about that.
Her fishies.
Well, how many she brought in? Did she only bring in one?
Yeah, she brought fishy in, but then she brought
Princess Diamond.
Princess Diamond, maybe that was her.
Well, they all have like 5 or 6 names.
Right.
And you know what? I picked one up the other day and I said something like, oh, hi, Princess Diamond. She said, that is not Princess Diamond.
Princess Sapphire, Pink Sapphire.
Pink Sapphire, Princess Diamond. I don't know. She gets on her bed and all you can see is like her head.
That's what I said.
And she's surrounded. It's like E.T. Like E.T.
I said, do they sleep all over you and everything? And she's just looked at me like, what do you think?
Lady. We have sleepovers on Saturdays and she'll come in and she'll get in the bed and everything. And lately I've been watching college football and she said, Mama, it's time to go to bed. And, I've got one eye open trying to watch my Seminoles, I don't even know why I'm watching that. But anyway, she brings all the fish with her. And so she gets the fish and she lines them all up. So here's me, here's the fish from the foot of the bed to the head of the bed. And then she's on the other side.
Oh my gosh.
And there's not enough room in there for Stefan.
Is fishy in there too?
Oh yeah, he's in there too.
Oh,
so that's a great example. This is, she wanted these pink fish. We couldn't find the pink fish. We looked everywhere. I posted on Facebook. 4 people.
I know. I was thinking
from different parts of the country.
You got the one, and then they just kept coming.
And 2 of them had connections to the PWS community. 2 of the ladies that found the fish, but 2 others saw that if it got shared, and I guess it went viral, and I didn't go viral, but you know what I mean, like it was shared a bunch of times, and so all these people were participating, and then 2 other people, sheerly out of the kindness of their heart, find this fish online, pay for the fish, and here comes the fish. One came from Texas, one came from Rhode Island, one came from Massachusetts.
Oh my gosh.
Where'd the other one come from?
Do they send notes with them?
Yeah.
Oh, how sweet.
I mean, it just really touched my heart. And, which is so important now with everything, that has been hard, the COVID and the all the divisiveness, all the stress.
Right.
When something like that happens,
oh gosh,
it made me feel so good.
I know.
Because you get tired of hearing about all the bad things when really there's so much more good than that.
There is. Yeah, there is. They just want to keep talking about the bad. So,
well, I told Stefan, I don't want to hear anything that's not happy.
Yeah.
So because I feel like you can always find something, or just don't say anything.
Yeah, I just got to where I didn't listen to the news for a good while, and still don't, just off and on.
Well, when Clementine was first born, I was overwhelmed with information. And a lot of the information was not great information. And a lot of the information I got from some of the doctors we saw locally, and I don't fault them, they just really didn't know what they were talking about.
Not educated about it.
No, because we think doctors know everything, right? Like if they're an endocrinologist, well, surely you must know about PWS because it's, it falls within your specialty. They don't know.
No, and I think a lot of that has to do with what they're interested in too. I mean, are you really interested in this profession of yours, and do you really want to know all this stuff? Because they don't know.
Yeah. So I had some people say some things to me that were crazy, that were not, positive about her future or her outlook, and they've been very wrong. That's all I could say. They have been very wrong. But at the same time, I've come across so many people who have been positive and have said, yes, she can do, this and she can do that. And she does those things.
Yeah, she's got some amazing doctors and stuff. I mean, and she has an amazing relationship with them too.
Yeah.
And you do too. I mean, like I said, you're like a walking encyclopedia. If I needed anything, I'd call you.
I miss my calling. No, well, no, please. I mean, it's
And not just about that, a lot of things.
well, thank you, Terry. That's kind of you to say. I feel the same way.
I can't count, remember? I used the wrong. That was hilarious.
If I hear her counting wrong, I'm gonna be like, well, that's Terry's fault.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious.
Well, I hope that our relationship continues for, seriously, you can't retire. No, I'm not kidding about that. But even at some point when you decide that you're going to go do something
You know
else.
how old I am.
That is all in the mind. That is all in the mind.
Got my knee fixed. So
yeah, you're in good shape. You zipping along now. You're not even limping. I'm the one that's limping.
You are. I know. I saw that today.
I know my hip's hurting me. I got to have my knee replaced.
Well, because
I will. The bottom line is that Clementine is happy.
Yes.
She is confident in herself, which I'm thrilled about. Beyond all measure, I'm thrilled about that. Seems like she's made some friends that are good, kind friends here at the new school. She has you. We have much support. We have so many things to be grateful for. There are challenges, but like I was saying earlier, everybody has challenges. They may look a lot different than mine. They may look a lot different than Clementine's, but they're there, and they're no less or no greater than what we have. So I just think we have to be part of a bigger community,
Yes,
and try to understand each other. And that is what Clementine has taught me. That's what she's taught me. And she's a mess.
She is. She's our mess.
She is our mess. And that's the thing about it is she's our mess. And I know that you love her.
I do.
I know that, and we love you. And it's just
I love y'all too. And my family, they know how much I care and love her. And I keep telling her, I said, don't you want to come over to the house and just, we'll watch TV or do something? I said, you bring your iPad. She's like, I said, you want to go home, don't you, and just be home with mom? And she said,
she doesn't want to be around anybody. She goes into her room and she shuts her door. And if I go in there to check on her and see what she's doing, she has to have that decompression time. And so
you can close the door now.
Yeah,
or you can leave now.
She'll say, will you close my door fully? I'm like, oh, okay, no partial closing the door. So I close the door and I leave a little crack. And she said, Mama, I said, close it fully, please. So that I have to close it. And then, but after about an hour or so, she's good. She'll come out, but she just needs to completely decompress.
Yeah. And that's okay. I mean, my gosh, we all need that. She is one in a million.
She is. And you are.
Well, I don't know about that, but.
And I am. We all are.
Yeah, we all are.
But we all work together really well.
Yes, we do.
So, all right. Well, thank you for having this conversation.
Well, thank you for having us. And I just, hope a lot of people enjoy us.
Ladies, well, if they don't, something's wrong.
Ladies and germs. Stand-up comedy.
Well, at least we think we're funny,
yes.
right? Okay.